Hi, mystery writers. Today I wanted to focus on one of your main supporting characters, the sidekick. But a lot of the principles you can use for your other supporting characters, like a mentor or a love interest. But today let's just look at the sidekick and what they do in your mystery. The sidekick, it amplifies your sleuth and the story. The sidekick is a traditional literary archetype that will enhance your mystery novel. The sidekick can be a working partner or a friend, and the sidekick's role in the story will vary depending on how you choose to amplify your sleuth with the sidekick. The ways your sidekick can mirror your sleuth depends on their story role. And although some sleuths work alone, using a sidekick in your mystery can illustrate your sleuth's weaknesses or strengths about the protagonist's personal traits. And when you expand your protagonist with interaction with that sidekick, readers engage in your story. They have more of an emotional connection, not only with the protagonist, because they see how your protagonist works with the sidekick, but also they have more of an emotional connection with your story. So, what is the role of the sidekick? The sidekick has a special role in your story, and that is to accompany your hero or heroine on their quest for the truth, their quest to solve the mystery puzzle. So, in a mystery, the sidekick helps your sleuth track down the murderer. The sidekick is not necessarily a mentor. There can be two separate supporting characters, but we're going to focus on the sidekick today. And the role of the mentor is to appear periodically and provide sage advice. Your sidekick doesn't have to do this. Your sidekick wouldn't be a sidekick if he weren't there through thick and thin. No periodical appearances, right? A sidekick is there. Your sleuth and the sidekick have a connection that sets them on the trail of discovery to find the murderer. Even if the sidekick is assigned to your sleuth, and this often happens in police crime novels, they both are set on solving the mystery. So let's look at some ways your sidekick mirrors your detective. Because the sidekick and the sleuth work together, they have something in common. It may be a knowledge of police procedure or a common interest. Um, in the film The Crimson Rivers, Pierre Neiman, who, played by Jean Reno, works with action-oriented Max Kukarian, who's played by Vincent Cassel. And though they are often at odds on procedure, they both have the goal of finding the killer. And then John D. MacDonald created Meyer, the economist, to help readers understand Travis McGee in his long-running Travis McGee series. So the sidekick holds up a mirror to your sleuth by highlighting their strengths and weaknesses. Sometimes the sidekick compensates for the weaknesses by having an opposite personality or style of response. And some sidekicks may pick up the slack, others may not. So the sidekick can highlight the strengths by pointing them out when your sleuth meets an obstacle. So let's look at some points to consider as you create your sleuth sidekick. As a writer, You have a lot of leeway as you create your sidekick. And your sidekick can be male or female, young or old, or the same age, new to the game or an old hand. It's up to you, the writer, to create a sidekick that will accompany your sleuth on the discovery journey. So here's some pointers. Make the sidekick a distinct and interesting character. Give them a personality and one that interacts with your sleuth. Build their skill set in the same way you create your sleuth skill set. And if you plan on creating a series, build a rich background in your character Bible for the sidekick. As a continuing character, you need to know a lot about that sidekick. So keep the sidekick from taking over the story. A sidekick is fun to create, and you may be tempted to let the sidekick take over. So resist that temptation. Your sleuth is the protagonist, all right? So keep your sleuth and your sidekick connected. If you create an antagonistic sidekick, be sure to make the connection between the two characters strong. If you create an antagonistic sidekick just to be antagonistic, rethink your sidekick or create a more sympathetic and supportive sidekick. The sidekick and the sleuth take the discovery journey together, not separately. So if you have an antagonistic sidekick, you're going to have trouble making them take that journey together. So create traits for your sidekick that showcase the detective strengths and weaknesses. That's why having your sidekick with opposite strengths and weaknesses really helps build up that view of your detective and how they work in the story. So create sidekick traits that complement your detective traits. That's the way there's going to be a lot more interaction between the two of them. The sidekick's role is to make your sleuth protagonist more likable for your reader. That is their main goal. So as they're working through the story, just you remember, as the creator of this vast world in which your story takes place, that the sidekick's main rule is to make your detective more likable and more enjoyable for your reader. So your sidekick supports the sleuth and physically and emotionally as they work to solve the whodunit puzzle. So those are my pointers today on working with your sidekick, creating your sidekick, making them work in the story, having their relationship with your detective, and highlighting your detective strengths and weaknesses. I hope that helps. I'd love to see any comments you have about this, or if you have any struggles with your sidekick, let me know. All right, thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time.